Hey guys, it's Mad Games GX here, and I'm happy to be back. I'm now at the end of recovering from an ear infection, and of course, we're going to be talking about Branded, and the best way to do that is to discuss the ban list actually while I'm sleeving up my cards. So, this is going to be another yapping about Branded episode where it's just kind of off the cuff, and we're just going to be talking about Branded, but this time with a focus on the ban list because I've been getting a lot of questions with banlist season coming up. You know, all your favorite YouTubers are making their banlist predictions. I tend not to really make too many banlist predictions. I let the other YouTubers end up doing that because it's just one of those oversaturated videos. But I wanted to maybe give a unique take on it from maybe a branded player's perspective because a lot of people have been asking me certain questions like, will Branded Fusion ever come back to 3? What needs to happen to Branded on the ban list for it to go back to its former glory? Or what could potentially come off the list or get banned that will help out Branded in the current in the potential metagame? So I want to answer those questions and more while I resleeve this deck for an upcoming video that you guys will also be seeing if you haven't already seen it. It's going to be yapping about Branded, and we're also going to be teaching people how to use this card because it's a very good card. So first of all, let's answer the first question. Let's go off the top. Will Branded Fusion ever go back to 3? And I think that it's very likely to go back to 3 at some point. You guys see how ban lists are done with Konami over the years, and if you don't know, this is the pattern. Essentially, they want most cards to be unlimited or banned unless they have to be banned, and those cards that have to be banned eventually get ROTA'd, which means, you know, they will basically have their effect changed so that they could come into the metagame, unless it's like a very classic card. And even then, I'm having my doubts with that because we saw Brain Control, which, like, Brain Control came out in the Lost Millennium, but it seems like anything after, like, the Lost Millennium is fair game. Like, anything before, like, Change of Heart's not getting errata, you know? Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, those things probably aren't going to get errata, but anything over, like, kind of the GX era and beyond, I think can get errata. So that means a lot of things will eventually come back on the ban list. I was a Shadal player back in the day, and if a lot of branded players used to be Shadal players, if you've been into Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, Shadal Fusion was the original branded fusion where you got to send monsters from your deck to the graveyard to make a fusion monster that broke your opponent's board. It was genuinely one of the most exhilarating things ever to go second and resolve a Shadal fusion, and that's essentially why one of the reasons I clicked with branded so hard, because I was like, oh, this is just like Shadal's, right? So yeah, no, I would say overall, you know, seeing that Construct got unbanned, you know, Construct at the time it got Shadal Construct was banned back, I believe, in 2015 or 2016. It was the early 2016 or the late 2015 ban list after the Nats of that year, I believe. And that effectively killed the pure Shadal deck. And Shadal Construct, I think, is most analogous to like a Tier Limits Fuwalos in terms of its power back in its heyday, because it allowed your opponent, it allowed the user to extend while also putting up a huge body that allowed you to get board presence. And I know Fuwalos isn't really the big body, but Fuwalos gets you to the big body. It gets you to the Kaleido Heart or the Roll Kalos, right? And it also extends, and that was the important part of Construct, because back in the day there wasn't really like a lot of extender boss monsters. Like, that wasn't really a thing, and Construct was really one of the first in that regard, because when it was fusion summoned, you got to send a Shadal card from your deck to the graveyard. I think, or maybe it was Spell or Trap, one of the two. And no, it was Shadal cards. So yeah, I was just like absolutely broken, because then it got you a 3000 beater. And that card was banned because that made that deck essentially like like Shadal Fusion would have gone banned if it was like Branded Fusion, I think, where it fused from deck, but it was only on your opponent's turn. So it was quote unquote balanced. So, but that was, I remember people were like, ban Shadal Fusion, because that card was so good back in the day, because Shadal Fusion going second always got you a Construct, which then like won you the game, essentially going second with Engine, which is really insane. So that's in, you know, Branded Fusion's kind of similar in that regard, where the deck just or where the card just allows you to go second and then still like establish a board and then extend and break your opponent's board. So it's really I could see it going back to 3, but I think it might take some time overall. I wouldn't expect it in the next couple lists. You know, I think they put it there for a reason. They want to see how Branded does with it at 1, because they see, I think Konami sees in Master Duel it's doing just fine at 1. So I think they're going to try to do other things before they bring it back to 3, in my opinion. I could be wrong, because we see other things on ban lists where, you know, like we saw gate opening of the spirit gates. I believe that went to 1 literally on the ban list, and then on the next ban list it went to 3. So, and you guys have seen on Master Duel too, where they've hit Druid Swarm and Saronir, and then they brought back to 3. Same with Branded Opening. So there's precedent for TCG Konami to bring back cards. So the precedent's there. I just think it's just like how generic, how splashable is Branded Fusion. And I think if Dragon Tail has 3 Branded Fusion, that might be pretty crazy, I'm not gonna lie. But overall, I'm still not convinced that Branded is the absolute best variant of Dragon Tail. We'll see how it even goes, because I think Dragon Tail, frankly, just needs a 1-card starter that goes first. Because as of right now, they don't have one. So without that in their arsenal, I think even then Branded Fusion could be their 1-card starter, right? So we could see it come back to boost Dragon Tail potentially. But also I do think that the Dragon Maid support already does that. And then there's also the Magistus support. So there's our 2 other variants of the Dragon Tail deck. You know, so I don't necessarily think that means that Branded Fusion will come back just for Dragon Tail, but, you know. But I think the most realistic conversation to have is, what is the most likely outcome? Because I think there are other cards that could come off the list that would help Branded a lot, even potentially. I wouldn't say more than 3 Branded Fusion. I think if we got 3 Branded Fusion, Branded might be top 5 for sure. Like it could be. I think it would be a top 5 deck. Obviously, we might see Sanctifier go. I think Sanctifier is really good under Chummy, but we don't have Maxx. If we don't have Maxx, I don't think like Sanctifier is that needed. I can just do a Mirror Jade line and give my opponent 2 draws under Chummy. That's fine. Like I still get Lad and Mirror Jade, right? Plus a Mercurier. Like whatever. So, you know, they can take Sanctifier, right? Like I've said this before. Give me back Branded Fusion at 3. It would be cool to see it at 2 though. To end that conversation, I guess, on directly the Branded Fusion, you know. Konami, if you're listening, I think if we got 2 Branded Fusion, that'd be cool, because it's annoying not being able to run like Desires anymore. Like 60 is so bad right now in TCG, because we have Verte, we don't have 60 card or 2 grass, so there are a lot of bricking issues. Like Verte, you can convert hand traps and Bestials into full combo, right? Into 3 interruptions, because you go Lubellion pitch, summon Bestial, normal summon Albaz, or normal summon Tragedy, normal summon Mulcharmy, normal summon Ash, normal summon Valor, and then you make Verte, and then you send Branded Fusion, and then you send Albaz and the Verte on board to make the Mirror Jade. And then you have 3 interruptions, because you now have an Albaz in graveyard, plus the banish on field of Mirror Jade, plus the Renbrum that you can send off the Mirror Jade. And then you will be able to get, the Albaz fuse off, the 2nd interruption, and then the 3rd interruption off of whatever you summon off the Albaz, whether it's a, Chaos Star Source, another Mirror Jade, because you have a lot of cards to, like, fuse back the Mirror Jade on board. Masquerade against Malice, fuck it. Borreload, So I think that, if we got Verte back, that is the transition into saying, I think Verte would be really nice. I think Verte would fix a lot of the issues. However, I'm not sure if I'm ready to, like, unleash that, frankly, Pandora's box on the TCG, I feel like. I don't know if that's exactly what the TCG needs in order to have a healthy game state, if I'm being honest, with how many generic engines are currently in the game. Like, we'll talk about what I think generally needs to happen about the ban list too at the end, don't worry. Because I think Malice and Ryzeal needs to get hit. But we can talk about, and if those things happen, like, we could have more, like, Branded automatically gets better. no matter what. Like, let's just put that out of the way. So to go on to that point, I think if we got Verte, that would help out. Once again, just that it makes like 3 Lubellion incredible. It makes Lubellion the Looper our best combo because it plays through like infinite hand traps at that point because you can make the Verte. So and it eats the imperm, right? So like, so I'm very happy. I'd be very happy with Verte. That's one of the things but once again, Horus too. That's like the biggest thing I've seen like run Verte and Master Duel, and that's the Horus engine since Verte has been legal. Obviously, they're testing if Verte should be legal. I don't even think Verte is legal in the OCG. They're just testing if it's good or fine or not in Master Duel. I think it's best of one, right? I think that's the thing. Because, like, when you can get a guarantee going first with Verte, that's when things get a little insane, right? Once again, it makes you have to run pretty iffy deck building. I think it overall just boosts fusion decks better more. And that's also the thing, like, you have cards like Fusion Deployment Opening, where, like, you guys have seen Master Duel. I've actually just, like, opted to cut, like, these cards down to, like, 1 or 2 each, because these lock you, and I don't want to be locked. If I get impermed, like, twice or whatever, I want to get the ability to go Verte still, right? So, like, I have to run these cards in the TCG, because there's, like, absolutely no point. I mean, there is a point. Like, you can run SP Little Knight, Chaos Angel, and do a little Bless, you know? But I don't think it's that great in the TCG without Verte. Like, Bless gets way better with Verte. So, not having the ability to also run that many Bestials sucks. Like, Bestials are great going second, but we can't convert them. Like, I can't run Swarm because it's a brick, it's not an extender. I have to draw, like, High Spirits, or, like, Allur's not even good. Like, I want to banish Swarm off Allure. So it's just, like, it's one of those things where I think that if Verte came out, it would make deck building a lot more fun for branded TCG, because currently branded TCG is like 60 is like super unreliable. It's easily the strongest. You get to run the most options, but like then you'll just draw hands of like Saronir, like Branded Lost, like you know, just like Called By, like Super Poly Thrust, right? Like you have to be able, and that's because you have to run these cards to run 60, right? And like being able to convert that Saronir, let's just say if you had normal summon Albaz instead of the Thrust, right? Like, let's just say link off Striker Dragon, right? Like bash Albaz, make Verte. Like, that's a lot better, right? So the other things that I could see coming back that would help, also shout out to Quem, shout out to Yuri Diaz for giving me this one. Shout out to Yuri Diaz for giving for getting me most of the stuff, frankly. But let's talk about also Grass Looks Greener. So I have my second one around here somewhere, but decks in the TCG are currently not running 60 card builds, so I think they need to incentivize it more. Like Snow's not in the game, and I don't think they're gonna bring back Snow. Please, Snow would be terrible. That'd be such a buff to Malice. But either way, I think that the Grass Looks Greener, if that came back to 2, that would help 60 a lot. That would be another one of those options where if Grass went to 2, I think there would be a lot more of a reason, ton more of a reason to run 60. I think there would be, because then you actually have like a decent chance of opening it. I'm not sure like what exactly the percentage is. I know it's probably really, I should know that percentage, like what the percentage chance of adding a 2 of in a 60 card build and drawing in your opening hand, going first or something, and going second, like. But I'm sure, like, that's literally, like, double, right? So that's, like, a good thing, if you're running 2. And also just opening Grass is crazy, in my opinion. Also, it, like, you could just, like, run the left arm, in my opinion, for the 3rd if you want. But I think the 2 really helps. Like, I think that's why you guys see in the OCG most branded builds going around. Not all of them, but a lot of them are just 60 cards. You know, shout out to Nuts and the people we've watched on stream, I follow on Twitter. Some goats over in the OCG that stay cooking on the deck, honestly. I would like to see either Grass to 2, you know, Verte to 2, or like, you know, Branded Fusion to 2. That'd be nice. And then, you know, we're talking about banlist hits, I think, at this point. I also think, because we're at 18 minutes, I think that Detonator sucks for our deck, and I think Whitebinder sucks for our deck, because none of our board breakers go into Maliss very well, or we can't interact with Whitebinder very well, and then so it's always just messing up our board. It's really hard to play into their board unless we have Super Poly. And even then, it's still a tough time. Deck's just like super good. And with all the Bestials that they run, it's crazy. It's a really bad matchup in my opinion. So you have to like overside for that deck, and like you have to still pray that you get first and like don't get god-handed by them, or you don't draw a weak hand rather. So, you know, I would like to see certain things happen. Also, I think it's mostly ryzeal cross that's the issue for the ryzeal matchup. Talk to Marat about this. Shout out to Marat. I got a lot of theory. Talked a lot of theory with him this format, but I do think that if Detonator was banned, it would be all good and dandy. That's not gonna happen. So I think like Best Swaller getting banned would be really good, because if they resolved Weller, it makes us so we have to run, crap like this, and we have to run this, which isn't a bad card, but it's not great right now. It's not a droplet format, but it's a droplet format for Branded because we have to not die to Dweller, and I'm sure there's a lot of other decks like that. I don't like that, and obviously, like, I think they're scared of seeing what happens if Dweller gets banned, but having the OCG, it's gonna happen over here, so probably happens this list, if not next, right? And other ryzeal hits like X to 1 would be nice, but I also like the deck. I know that would hit ryzeal really hard, but also we just have like, so like what if they don't put bonfire to 1 and they put X to 1? I don't know how I'd feel about that. I don't think that would really do too much, honestly. They'd probably have to still put bonfire to 1 and X to 1. That's like what literally everyone expects. I feel like that's probably just what is gonna happen still. Like, it's just like so inevitable, it feels like at this point. So we'll see what happens there. And then Maliss, I'd like to see something happen to Shifter just for the Maliss variants that get to run Shifter. I'd like to see Magnum up banned. That card has a insane win rate in that deck, I think. I forgot who mentioned that. It's like Nesh or something. Shout out to Nesh and whoever mentioned that if I got that wrong. But I do think that those would be pretty good, if we ended up seeing a Mag ban and then Druiswarm to 1. The issue with Druiswarm to 1 is it's like mainly just a Maliss issue. Like I think Druiswarm is actually just like fine without Maliss in the format. So it's like you have to actually like hit Maliss. Like I think it's inevitable that White Binder gets banned, honestly. Like if I'm just being real. It's either that or just like they ban like Dormouse or something. I don't know. Or like one of the traps that like make it necessary to play the game. I think it's like one of, I don't know, like because I fear we're just gonna see a lot of ban lists that are just gonna like hedge around Malice, like the issues, until they actually address it. Once we get like the canines and the dragon tails and stuff like that, they'll address it like basically the week after that set comes out, right? As they always do. And we will be dealing with Malice at basically full power being the best deck basically for the next 6 months, and that's why I kind of project to be. I see ryzeal the best deck in OCG. I can read the Malice cards with my own eyes, and they're crazy. But obviously ryzeal Star is insane because it lets you get cross on board immediately, and that's the issue with ryzeal. So I can understand how it's also going to stay on top. So, I think we're going to have to play it by ear and see what happens, but I welcome any ryzeal hits. And I wouldn't like to see Goldsark banned, but, I'd like to see some, like, why ban Goldsark? Like, Goldsark's not broken, like, unless you play, like, Malice, basically, but I don't know, it's also, like, a deck building thing, like, if they can't ever make a deck that, like, benefits off of Banish that hard because of Goldsark, so I could see it getting banned, which would suck if we lost a 1-card starter there, but I don't think it's gonna get banned. It's like an anime card, and it's like one of the prize cards. They've banned prize cards before, but it's like an anime prize card. Like Diabolos probably is an anime card too, but like I don't think it I think the prize card, I think Goldsark being like a series 1 prize card means a lot. So no, I'd like to see those things happen. Anything generally, I mean, if we got Dweller and those ryzeal hits and Malice hits, I think it's just fine. There's like nothing else that's really a big issue. It's just those decks need to be addressed. Those are the best decks, and you have to address what they're doing. You could put all the Bestials to 1, but then like you're taking away so much like counterplay to dark decks, lane dark decks. So it's when you're already banning Dweller. Also, oh yeah, Mermail. We have to actually overside for Mermail, and it's not a deck that you're guaranteed to see, which sucks. We already have to do that for Malice. So at least you're guaranteed to see one Malice. So hopefully we see either Toad or Moulin Glacia / Water Barrier statue banned. Any combination of the two, especially if Dweller is getting banned. Also Crestron Breath stack if Dweller gets banned. Not really, but that'll be something we'll have to deal with. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Did I miss anything on the ban list predictions for also discussion with Branded? See you guys later. Sorry if I was a little quiet. This still got that ear infection, but I'm feeling a lot better. So see you guys later. Leave a like down below. Subscribe. Road to 10,000 subscribers. Yeah, see you guys later. Bye now.